I'm retiring.
And that's it, huh?
And now you're the Steelers. Now what? I mean, what?
Well, you know what? On the surface, it looks like that's pretty damn bad.
Pretty bad,
right?
Yes.
But there's a name on that graphic that's not there.
What's the name?
You know the name.
You're going to tell me Tyler Shough, aren't you?
Absolutely right. You know what? And look, I think at this point in time, like in all seriousness, I think for Pittsburgh right now, if you're Omar Khan, if you're Mr. Rooney, if you're Mike Tomlin, you have to be operating right now with the idea being we may need to address quarterback early on, regardless of what Aaron tells us, whether he comes or he doesn't. Because this is not just about next year for them. I mean, look, this is a football team that you can't constantly be pushing things down the road saying, hey, you know what? We got to build the offensive line. We're going to get some more wide receivers. You got to get quarterback right. That's what you've got to do. They're not much different than what the Giants are in terms of, like, ownership has to be looking at them going, hey, look, man, we got to make sure that we have this position sewed up. Because since Ben left, we kind of been like spinning in the wind with this position right here. We got to make sure that we are looking at this thing holistically, meaning both now in the short term with Aaron and in the long run. If we think there's a quarterback there that can be a decades-long guy, look, we already said sitting up here, we've already said that there's been GMs and coaches who have said Tyler Shough's the best quarterback in the draft.
Yeah. Who
knows what Arthur Smith thinks about him yet? We don't know what Mike Tomlin thinks about him. He was one of their early guys who they brought in for a top 30 visit. We do know that.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. That looks like a pretty bad scenario. But I don't think all hope is lost if that happens.
He plays in the conference that you cover for us, the ACC. How good is Tyler Shough?
He's extremely good. I love his arm strength. I love his ability to throw with different arm angles. I felt like he came into that Louisville offense and really kind of grabbed the bull by the horn, so to speak, because I got a lot of respect for the Brown brothers. They do a great job of developing quarterbacks at the college level, but also as the season went on, this guy could stretch the football down the field. That's what Pittsburgh needs. When you got DK Metcalf and Pickens on the other side, you need somebody that can literally stretch the football down the field. So he will bring that to that offense. Personally, though, you go with a veteran here if you're Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh already has a playoff-ready roster. So I don't believe you necessarily go and get a guy in the first round, Lewis, and try to say, okay, we expect you to take us to the playoffs. Call Kirk Cousins if Aaron Rodgers isn't available and get him to come there and be your quarterback, and then maybe take one in the third round if you can.
You got to talk them into it.
No doubt, but I'm just saying it can happen.
Talk to me, Steelers, Rodgers, what?
Yeah, well, Rodgers, they're waiting on. I mean, like, to me, like, I don't know that Aaron Rodgers moves the needle dramatically for the Steelers this year, right? Like in terms of making them a Super Bowl contender based on what we've seen from Aaron Rodgers the last couple of years. So I think he's their best veteran option right now in their eyes. And it would be great for them if he signed because that's their plan A. But in terms of the 21st pick, you know, if you're taking a guy that maybe is a second-round pick at 21 in the first round, you're doing it because you know you need to get this fixed for the long term. And in Pittsburgh's case, you don't have a second-round pick.
Correct.
You already traded that for DK Metcalf. So they may be the team that has to stretch because of how important it is for them to solve this.
I think they need Rodgers desperately to play for them.
Absolutely.
They put themselves in a corner here. That is a veteran roster invested at positions like defensive end with TJ Watt and with guys like Minkah Fitzpatrick and Cam Hayward who are veteran guys, and that wide receiver room, it's not toxic yet. But you can't put a rookie in there, Tyler Shough, and say, go deal with George Pickens and DK Metcalf and get them up. It's not happening.
It's true.
It's not happening.
It's true.
That's
so
right.
You put yourself in this corner when you didn't re-sign Russell or you didn't sign Justin Fields and you said, we're going to wait on Rodgers. Well, the clock is ticking. I don't know what they're waiting for.
I would love for Mr. Rooney to get back in front of the
imagine.
camera again now like he was at the owners' meetings where he was nice and cool and collected and he was just like, hey, we're going to wait a little longer. It's going to be good. I'd like to hear what he
If you're Omar Khan, is Rooney knocking on the door at 6 a.m. every day to be like, we have an answer? Do we have an answer? Every single day?
No, I would be hard-pressed to think that he's not. I mean, because this is really, this is just going on and on. And you're right, it's put him in a position where, are they going to really, if Aaron just decided, like, I'm done, come on now. You're not going to go into the season with just Mason Rudolph. I don't care who's in your wide receiver room.
Let me pause on this for a minute. We have much more coming on it. The Giants are having a private workout with Shough, and the New York Giants are making all the news. We talked about them holding a private workout or scheduling one for Shedeur Sanders. We now learn they are also holding private workouts with Alabama's Jaylen Milroe and Louisville's Tyler Shough. The Giants are scheduled to pick at 3, at 34, which is the second pick of the second round, and they have 2 third-round picks, number 65 and number 9. So, Dan Graziano, the plot thickens. Things get interestinger and interestinger, as we like to say. What does this mean?
Well, what the Giants would tell you is that this was always the plan to do private workouts with the top quarterbacks that they've identified in the draft. They did one with Jackson Dart a few weeks ago. So now these other three join Jackson Dart as kind of the group to watch for Giants and quarterback. The question is, where do you take them? Could they take Shedeur Sanders or some quarterback at 3? Theoretically, yes. I don't think you rule anything out 100% at this point. It still feels more likely that what they want to do is take Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, whichever of the two is still there at 3, and then address quarterback later. So what does that mean? Does that mean take one at 34? Does that mean move back up into the first round? You mentioned the extra third-round picks. It gives you a little bit of help in terms of maneuvering. Whenever their opportunity comes to take one, if Shedeur Sanders is there in the late teens, early 20s, and they have a chance to trade up, they want to know. They want to have worked him out. Brian Daboll, their head coach, believes the private workout is a critical part of the evaluation. They're not going to draft a quarterback if they haven't done a private workout with him with Daboll in attendance. So they just want to be as prepared as possible when they get the opportunity to get one of these guys to make sure they have all the information on them.
I'll tell you, I texted with a Giants source over the weekend. It was Saturday. I said, "Are you watching the Masters?" Big golf fan. He said, no, we're in draft meetings all the way straight up until tomorrow evening. So the Giants were working well into the weekend through Sunday night. Joe Schoen is going to be speaking with the media at noon today. He has not done so since the league meetings. I think there could be something to be taken from it. I think we might be able to glean something from his press conference. Always interesting when the New York media, who's really plugged into what's going on in that building, can get Schoen on the ropes. They might be able to get something from him.
You do not expect him 3 either, right? Graz is saying...
I have never thought Shedeur Sanders would go 3 to the Giants.
Okay, fair enough. So, you shut me down in only the best possible way. Okay, so Shedeur is a fascinating one. Yep. I want to deal in the Jaylen Milroe of it all for a minute here, Louis Riddick, because I am not an analyst, I'm not an evaluator, not any of that. What I am is an amalgamator of all the information. Starting in January, I look at every mock draft. I read every scouting report. I watch everything that happens. I didn't see Jaylen Milroe's name anywhere near round 1 any place, and then all of a sudden he's accepting an invitation to attend the draft in Green Bay. For those who don't know, players very seldom do that unless they believe they're going to go in round 1, or if not, then the very beginning of round 2. Yep. Lewis, is this a quarterback that we believe is going to go that high and should?
Well, do we believe he's going to and should he are two different questions, right?
Okay.
You're going to have two different answers with, but because of the subjectivity or the subjective nature of quarterback evaluation. But I think, look, I'll say this in Jaylen Milroe's defense, or in support of Jaylen Milroe. If you put a rip together of 10 of his best throws from this past year, you would say, look, that's on par with Cam Ward, that's on par with Tyler Shough, that's on par with Jackson Dart, any of them. As a matter of fact, it may be better than him. And none of them by a mile can touch his athleticism. So the question is this: do you believe that you have the program that will have the level of